Okay, we're back. It's episode 3. Uh, if you saw the end of the last episode, we've just had a pretty major thing happen. I'm not going to say too much more about it right now, but I did notice that something happened with that little black pillar down there. So I kind of want to check that out. I don't think there's anything more we can do on the mountaintop here right now. Just want to check real quick if there are any audio recordings that I may have missed. But I'm not seeing any. Anything? Oh, wait. There's one.
Up there, you go around every hour and a half, time after time after time. You wake up usually in the mornings, and just the way that the track of your orbits go, you wake up over the Mideast, over North Africa. As you eat breakfast, you look out the window as you're going past, and there's the Mediterranean area, and Greece, and Rome, and North Africa, and the Sinai, the whole area. And you realize that in one glance, that what you're seeing is what was the whole history of man for years, the cradle of civilization. And you go around down across North Africa and out over the Indian Ocean, and look up at that great subcontinent of India, pointed down toward you as you go past it. And Ceylon off to the side, Burma, Southeast Asia, out over the Philippines, and up across that monstrous Pacific Ocean. Vast body of water. You've never realized how big that is before. And you finally come up across the coast of California and look for those friendly things. Los Angeles and Phoenix, and on across El Paso. And there's Houston. There's home. And you look, and sure enough, there's the Astrodome. And you identify with that, you know? It's an attachment. And down across New Orleans, and then looking down to the south, and there's the whole peninsula of Florida laid out. And all the hundreds of hours you spent flying across that route, down in the atmosphere, all that is friendly again. And you go out across the Atlantic Ocean and back across Africa. And you do it again, and again, and again. And that identity, that you identify with Houston, and then you identify with Los Angeles, and Phoenix, and New Orleans, and everything. And the next thing you recognize in yourself is you're identifying with North Africa. You look forward to that. You anticipate it. And there it is. That whole process begins to shift of what it is you identify with. When you go around it in an hour and a half, you begin to recognize that your identity is with that whole thing, and that makes a change. You look down there, and you can't imagine how many borders and boundaries you crossed again and again and again. And you don't even see them. At that wake-up scene, the Mideast, you know there are hundreds of people killing each other over some imaginary line that you can't see. From where you see it, the thing is a whole. And it's so beautiful. And you wish you could take one from each side in hand and say, look at it from this perspective. Look at that. What's important? And so a little later on, your friend, again those same neighbors, another astronaut, the person next to you goes out to the moon. And now he looks back and sees the Earth not as something big, where he can see the beautiful details, but he sees the Earth as a small thing out there. And now that contrast between that bright blue and white Christmas tree ornament and that black sky, that infinite universe, really comes through. The size of it, the significance of it, it becomes both things. It becomes so small and so fragile, and such a precious little spot in that universe that you can block it out with your thumb. And you realize that on that small spot, that little blue and white thing, is everything that means anything to you. All of history and music and poetry and art and war and death and birth and love, tears, joy, all of it is on that little spot out there that you can cover with your thumb. And you realize that that perspective, that you've changed, that there's something new there, that relationship is no longer what it was. And then you look back on the time when you were outside on that EVA and those few moments that you had the time because the camera malfunctioned, that you had the time to think about what was happening. And you recall staring out there at the spectacle that went before your eyes. Because now, you're no longer inside something with a window looking out at a picture. But now you're out there, and what you've got around your head is a goldfish bowl, and there are no limits here. There are no frames. There are no boundaries. You're really out there, over it, floating, going 25,000 miles per hour, ripping through space, a vacuum, and there's not a sound. There's a silence, the depth of which you've never experienced before. And that silence contrasts so markedly with the scenery and the speed with which you know you're going. That contrast, the mix of those two things, really comes through. And you think about what you're experiencing and why. Do you deserve this? This fantastic experience? Have you earned this in some way? Are you separated out to be touched by God to have some special experience here that other men cannot have? You know the answer to that is no. There's nothing that you've done that deserves that earned that. It's not a special thing for you. You know very well at that moment, and it comes through to you so powerfully, that you're the sensing element for man. You look down and see the surface of that globe that you've lived on all this time, and you know all those people down there. They are like you. They are you. And somehow you represent them when you are up there. A sensing element. That point out on the end. And that's a humbling feeling. It's a feeling that says you have a responsibility. It's not for yourself. The eye that doesn't see does not do justice to the body. That's why it's there. That's why you're out there. And somehow you recognize that you're a piece of this total life. You're out on that forefront and you have to bring that back somehow. And that becomes a rather special responsibility. It tells you something about your relationship with this thing we call life. And when you come back, there's a difference in that world now. There's a difference in that relationship between you and that planet, and you and all those other forms of life on that planet, because you've had that kind of experience. It's a difference, and it's so precious. And all through this, I've used the word you because it's not me. It's not Dave Scott. It's not Dick Gordon, Pete Conrad, John Glenn. It's you. It's us. It's we. It's life. It's had that experience. And it's not just my problem to integrate. It's not my challenge to integrate, my joy to integrate. It's yours. It's everybody's. Russell Schweikart, 1975.
Okay. Well, I can't help but think that that is the the thesis of this whole game. Even though it's a quote from an astronaut, I mean, it certainly applies, first of all, to us as the player, and the title of the game. We seem to be in the position of the one who senses kind of standing in for humanity or even life as a whole. It's also very appropriate for the top of this mountain here because we can look down on the island and see the places that we've been, especially the source of that beam of light, which we turned on last time. And we can see all the places that we're going to be. And I don't really know enough at this stage to connect any more dots than that, I guess, but if we can replay those, which I assume it looks like we probably can, I think it might be good to come back towards the end of the game and listen to that again and see if more meaning can be sussed out. So, I did not notice this door on the way up. And, well, I think we actually do know enough to solve this. I was assuming that we probably didn't, but this looks like a combination of, we know the rules for the black and white squares, and we know the rules for the colored dots, and it looks like it's one of these symmetrical puzzles. So if we start the blue line here, I wonder if this is a case of a invisible yellow line. Hold on. That should work for the yellow. Oh, how about that? Is this going to work? Wow. Oh, another lockbox. Well, let's open it up. All right. So it seems like, let me just make sure. I don't think I can actually, okay. Now, it seems like we're going to find a diagram like this in each lockbox that we find. And I'm going to just keep drawing them in my notebook. Okay. That way, that way, that way, that way. Okay. All right. And that's, I'll call it the vault in mountain. So we still don't know what these have to do with anything, or where we can even input these shapes. But I'm sure if we're patient, we can figure it out later. Yeah, that was hidden very cleverly, because you don't notice it when you're walking this way. Also, I did not notice that statue on the way up. Looks like a little mountain climber, sort of camper person. We could also start thinking about where we want to go next. I kind of want to return to closer to the beginning area and just kind of tackle things in a row. Um, and also, I wanted to mention it's pretty lucky that we did the symmetry puzzles as our first thing, and if we hadn't done those, we wouldn't have known how to open that door that we just opened. That was pretty lucky. I think we're going down a different way that we came up. So there's... Well, alright. Let's stick to the plan. I want to look at that little pillar that something happened to last episode. And then we want to go back to closer to the beginning. And but I think I'm kind of wandering into a brand new place by accident. Alright, let me go back this way. Although this is... I like the feeling of this area down here. Feels kind of dank. Maybe a cool breeze. But not up here. Okay, here's... Wait. Yeah, I think we want to go this way. No, that's where that's where I just came from. Wait a minute. This is where we want to go. Okay. Yeah, because we passed this on the way in. That's still very interesting. Don't know what's up with this. Or that. Huh. Okay. But still, we're getting sidetracked. There's the bamboo grove. I remember passing that. Okay, here's the waterfall. And this is the curvy river that we saw from the top of the mountain, which we did something really weird to. Okay, and here's the pillar that we altered in some way. And... Huh. I see. Oh, goodness. So are these... We have to find all these shapes in the environment, it looks like. Oh, boy. That is nuts. Okay, well, I think I saw some earlier. So let's go back and... Well, I don't know. I don't know if we should worry about that now, or if we should just stick to the the regular puzzles. Or if we should just do both. I guess if I run into one, like if I just happen to notice one, I'll do it. But I'm not gonna just run around looking for them. Until I have to. Oh man. Like I can already tell, like this kind of black outcropping is going to be one. I already know. But I'm sure Yeah, look at that. So, I mean, I can't do it from here. Maybe that tower? Ugh. Okay, this pink grove is probably a good place to start. Now let's see where we would naturally approach that from. So, okay, so we did these puzzles before, and um, we came out of there, and then we headed down to that canyon, and that's where we did all the symmetry puzzles. But let's head this way instead now, and look in this grove of trees. Hey. That looks like... But it's not working. Maybe because that's not... I don't know. Is there anything... I mean, am I right? That looks a lot like something that I should be able to... Alright, we'll worry about that later. Let's do this grove. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a tree. Oh, hold on. There's an apple on a branch. And it's the only green tree in a grove of pink trees, so I'm gonna say let's do this. Look at that. Alright, pink cable. Follow that over here to this panel, which just lit up, I think. Okay, same thing, except now the tree is kind of off, facing this way. So the second branch from the left. Okay, let's try that. I think it was this and that. No. Oops. Okay, right. Yeah. I did that wrong. Why did that turn off? I guess I have to solve this. Do I have to redo this one? Oops. I don't know why they make you do that. But maybe it's to make sure you get the point? I don't know. I do understand the concept, I just I did not remember it well enough. Okay. So we go this way and then like, there we go. Okay. So you draw the line to the apple. That makes sense. Here we go again. And now the branches are kind of overlapping each other. But I think the concept is the same. Yep. Alright, keep following. following the cable. Oh, and this gate was not open before. So that is handy. We opened that. Okay. That's fine. No. What? Why? Do I need to look at it from this side? Alright, but apparently we need to go back here. Just turn this one on again. Okay, so why... What am I missing? I mean, I could try to do it based on this side. I guess let's try that. So that would be that. Huh. So I get that I was supposed to look at it from this side to get that answer, but I don't understand why or how I was supposed to know that other than just testing it. But I guess, you know, we know that it sometimes you have to look at it from the other way. Now this one does not seem to have any apples. But the light seems to be illuminating this one particular branch of the tree. I can't guess it goes up to the right at the top. So let's try that. No. I think I'm on the right track. Maybe we need to hug the left side as we go to the top. Well, wait. Let's try this. Okay. So we had to follow that broken branch at the very top there for some reason. Okay, well, we did it. We can go up here, and this gate is now open. Somebody was eating apples here. And that actually looks like the branch that was missing from the tree. And the apple that was missing. Oh, okay, so I get it. I get it now. There was an apple there, but the branch was cut off. But I think the light was also a clue to point us in that direction, too. Kind of like double clues. Here we have a drawing of the circulatory system, which kind of looks like a tree. There's our heart. Anything else in this little place? Some bonsai kind of trees. Oh, I didn't look at these drawings. Some more arteries and veins, which are very reminiscent of trees and roots. Repeated motifs in nature, you might say. This is it looks like the windmill that we saw before. But I'm not seeing any real, well, no audio logs or any further puzzles in this area. Although I wonder if I can see any of those illusion, kind of optical illusion puzzles from here. Nothing's jumping out. Okay, well, we can leave here for the time being. Let's just look around a little bit and make sure we haven't missed anything else. That's kind of weird. But can't do anything. Huh. There's an X made of flowers, which is kind of like the windmill blades. Okay, and there's a little window here where we can kind of see into the windmill a little bit. But that might be it for the grove right now. Well, while it's on our minds, why don't we... I keep saying we, which is kind of silly because I'm the only one here. But, okay, here we go. So let's take a look at the windmill and see if we can get in the front door. I wonder. Oh, okay. What? What did that do? Oh, that's crazy. I think we're gonna have to rotate those blades or something. Oh, this looks fairly straightforward. I think there are some dots, like here's a dot. So this is just I just have to draw my line through those, and that looks an awful lot like a windmill. Okay, here we are. So we were just out there looking in. Let's take a look at this. So there's two exits, but we can only choose one of them, I think. We can either go... Does that mean the windmill is... It is turning. Look at that. And if I go this way, now is it turning the other way? Is it slowing down? I can't tell. I think it's just still turning. Is it turning slower? I'm not sure what the difference there is. But let's come back to that. What's underneath the windmill, huh? Whatever it is, I like it. It's spooky. Man, I love hidden underground bunkers, I gotta say. This is definitely something straight out of Myst. And I love finding secret places like this. I wish there were more of them in real life. So where are we? What is going on? Well, I can't go that way, but there's definitely stuff over there. This is like a secret lab of... Hey, that's a honeycomb. Alright, I think we can work this out. Maybe. Yeah. This is... Well, the red curtains remind me of the Red Room from Twin Peaks. But obviously it doesn't have the same floor. Those look like speakers. Some kind of, like a movie booth, like a projection room. Okay, and we have two more doors here. I don't know what those like propeller symbols mean. And I don't know what these Tetris looking symbols mean. So I don't think I'm going to try those yet. Look at that. Oh, I think we were up there looking down earlier. But, oh. Hey, that's like, we found a panel like that in the first episode way back at the beginning. I bet I can solve this one too. Oh, wait. Okay. So I don't know what that does. That seems to be right. But I don't know what it does. Hey, that looks like... Well, let's... Here's my chance to enter some of these patterns that I have written down. So one of them, the one from the vault way back at the beginning, looked like this. Ooh.
Well, that's no better a solution than any of the others, is it? So, in the end, have we learned anything from this look at why the world turned out the way it did that's of any use to us in our future? Something, I think. That the key to why things change is the key to everything. How easy is it for knowledge to spread? And that in the past, the people who made change happen were the people who had that knowledge, whether they were craftsmen or kings. Today, the people who make things change, the people who have that knowledge, are the scientists and the technologists who are the true driving force of humanity. And before you say, what about the Beethovens and the Michelangelos? Let me suggest something with which you may disagree violently. That at best, the products of human emotion, art, philosophy, politics, music, literature, are interpretations of the world that tell you more about the guy who's talking than about the world he's talking about. Second-hand views of the world, made third-hand by your interpretation of them. Things like that, as opposed to this. Know what it is? It's a bunch of amino acids, the stuff that goes to build up a worm, or a geranium, or you. This stuff's easier to take, isn't it? Understandable. Got people in it. This, scientific knowledge, is hard to take because it removes the reassuring crutches of opinion, ideology, and leaves only what is demonstrably true about the world. And the reason why so many people may be thinking about throwing away those crutches is because, thanks to science and technology, they have begun to know that they don't know so much, and that if they are to have more say in what happens to their lives, more freedom to develop their abilities to the full, they have to be helped towards that knowledge that they know exists and that they don't possess. And by help towards that knowledge, I don't mean give everybody a computer and say, help yourself. Where would you even start? No, I mean trying to find ways to translate the knowledge, to teach us to ask the right questions. See, we're on the edge of a revolution in communications technology that is going to make that more possible than ever before. Or, if that's not done, to cause an explosion of knowledge that will leave those of us who don't have access to it as powerless as if we were deaf, dumb, and blind. And I don't think most people want that. So what do we do about it? I don't know. But maybe a good start would be to recognize within yourself the ability to understand anything, because that ability is there, as long as it's explained clearly enough. And then go and ask for explanations. And if you're thinking right now, what do I ask for? Ask yourself if there's anything in your life that you want changed. That's where to start.
Okay. I wonder if that's an actual BBC film or if they recorded that for this game specifically. But I have a feeling, I don't know, it could go either way. It seemed it seemed genuine and vintage in a way. And I'm sure James Burke is a real person that I'm going to kick myself for not knowing about. But then again, what he was saying about teaching knowledge and new ways of learning things, that really reminds me of this, or these panels in general. Ways to communicate knowledge that we don't even really I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but it's like amassing knowledge without even really realizing it, in a way. Okay, so it looks like this is showing the patterns that we've inputted so far. And we do have one more we can put in here from the mountain right at the beginning of this episode. So let's do that. And there we go.
So it's absolutely simple what I have to say to you. It's what my teacher said to me. And I'm still deeply discovering the reverberation of that. And it's simply stop looking for what you want. Not cynically stop looking for what you want. Because there's a way of stopping looking for what you want in resignation and cynicism and closing down. But innocently, openly, stop looking for what you want in this moment. Not tomorrow when you have it. But in this moment, to take one moment, whatever it is you want, however mundane or profound, and just stop looking for it. And you will find more than what you could ever want. Because more than what can be wanted is already who you are. It's too simple to be grasped, but absolutely, completely realizable. If, and it is a huge if, of course, you are willing to give up your hope that what you want will be found in the next thought, or the next activity, or the next day, or the next man, or the next woman, or the next teaching, or the next experience. So that's huge. That's the challenge. And I've blessedly traveled to Australia to challenge you in that direction, that directionless direction. It's so simple that it has to be said over and over, because it just slips right by the mind. And if it's said over and over and in enough ways and then not said, it can just be revealed. Not as something new, but as something absolutely fresh. Not new, but fresh. Who you are is not new, but it is always fresh. Who you think you are is old and dead. We just keep trying to think it a little better, squeeze some life. Is that clear? It is? Because that's really the basis of what I have to say. It's not a teaching. It's not a belief system. It's not a way to live your life. It's not a should stop. It's not an if you stop, you will be rich and famous and universally loved and never have a sad moment. None of that, I promise. But if you're willing to investigate for yourself without believing it or learning it or hoping to get something from it, just pure investigation out of the natural curiosity of the human mind, just to investigate for yourself what is here when I stop trying to get anything. And how much of that is here? And where does that begin? And where does that end? And then the question, am I willing to trust that? And then the challenges get very big. But we'll get to that later. Any questions about what I just said? Want me to say it again? You already are everything you want, only maybe not in the way you imagine what you want. And it's that imagination itself that keeps you from discovering that you already are everything you want. So if you just take this evening as an experiment to give up any imagination, any image of what you need to be totally fulfilled, just give it up. It's just an image, just a thought. Maybe a spiritual thought, maybe a worldly thought, a relationship thought, career thought. Just give it up. And directly discover what's here, unthought, unimagined. How's that? Good. Good.
Well, I'm starting to get what this game is about. And I think I'll leave it at that. Okay. And we have 4 more of those to find, it looks like. But I think I'll cut the episode there. That seems like something to mull over. So I'm going to take a break. I might record one more tonight. And that's it.